Hi, everybody. Today I'm here with Gina Phelps, a student in the Mastering Ayurvedic Digestion and Nutrition program, and she's going to share a bit about her experience in the program. Gina, hi, how are you?
Hi, John. Really good.
Great. Well, thank you for meeting with me today. It's really helpful for prospective students to get to see who's in our programs and what it's like studying with us. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a part-time farmer. I'm also a nutritional therapy practitioner. I'm a mother, a wife, grandmother, and if you can see my background, I'm sitting on my front porch because that's where I did most of my schoolwork this year, working with you guys, unless it was nighttime or too hot or too cold. But even then, I tried to be out here as much as possible. I work 2 days a week at a holistic center in Gainesville, Virginia, and I work with clients, and so I'm planning on using what I learned this year with those clients.
Wow, that's great. That's great. And it is a beautiful setting there, and that sounds wonderful. So you're a nutritional therapist. How long have you been studying nutritional therapy?
So I started in 2012. I went to school. I had decided that I've had a lot of careers in my day. I worked in a hospital for many years as an ultrasound technologist, and then ended up homeschooling for 11 years with my 2 daughters. And then my husband didn't want me to get bored, so we opened up an ice cream franchise for 8 years. And so we kind of went from there to there, but I knew that nutrition was very important. And so when we moved to Virginia 10 years ago, I said, I'm going to recreate myself. And I went to the Nutritional Therapy Association program, and then I've been practicing ever since.
Great, great. And has there been any conflicts between Ayurveda's principles and nutritional therapy?
No, they actually work wonderful together. That's been really exciting for me. I find myself, though, it's interesting because I tend to be very holistic. I walk outside and I have herbs growing in my yard, and so I want to tell my clients about that. But sometimes in nutritional therapy, you're working with more supplements and dietary changes, which are good. But what I found was I've been able to switch a lot of things over from the supplement aspect and go with more herbs or more very simple lifestyle changes that have made a difference in my practice with them. So it's blended so nice together.
Oh yeah, great. Well, it's good to hear. Good to hear that. And it sometimes is very surprising how small changes in the lifestyle can have really big effects. I'm always amazed at that, and how that just takes a little bit of sitting down with the client and really being a little bit of curiosity on the practitioner's part, and you find, oh, okay, there's where we need to make the improvement, and it ends up being much simpler than originally it appeared. So
yep.
And
yeah, I've learned a lot of wonderful techniques.
What's that?
I said I've learned a lot of techniques that have been just so easy. It's not like, oh my gosh,
Yeah. Now, as we were talking just before the call, you said that you don't just have herbs growing in your on your property, but you also have a lot of farm animals. Can you tell us what farm animals you have on the property?
We do. You might hear them in the background, although that's probably the neighbor's rooster, not mine. But we started out, we came out here because we wanted to practice we were eating healthy food and properly raised animals, and we wanted to try it ourselves. We felt if we were going to teach people how to do this and talk about it, we wanted to try it. So we do have a sow right now and a boar. We've had more in the past, but just the 2 right now, and they had 11 piglets about 5 weeks ago. So they're running all over my backyard. And then because of all the situation this spring of being home a lot and everything, we decided that it was time to try some sheep. So I'm actually staring at them as we talk right now. They're off to the front of us. So I've got a mama sheep and 2 babies. And then my grandchildren are coming tomorrow for a while, and I wanted them to have the experience of chickens. So we got some chickens, and they're laying eggs every day. And I have a cat, so no dogs. And but it's an interesting experience raising animals for meat. And then you love them, and you love them, and then you eat them.
Yeah.
So it's a real heart check, and I've learned about preparing meat properly, using bone broth. That's what we really use our chickens for when they get old, and so we try not to waste anything on the farm. And I talk about it's a farm. It's really just a small hobby farm. We are raising vegetables this year. The caterpillars and the slugs are doing a better job than I am. But,
Yeah. Well, one of the things I love about so many Ayurveda practitioners is that they love life. And it just seems that, just looking at the background in your photo and hearing about the farm animals and your grandkids coming to visit for the summer, I see that that tendency is alive and well. And it's there's something warm about Ayurveda and Ayurveda practitioners. And so seems it's great to count you among that group and that community.
Yes.
So
I'm enjoying it. It's been great.
What? Say that again. You've been enjoying it. It's been great.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Well, so that brings me to the next question: is how did you get started in Ayurveda? What initially sparked your interest?
Well, I was looking about 2 years ago for a cleanse. One of my family members has a pretty severe autoimmune condition, and we were just really struggling. We couldn't kind of get past a certain point of healing. And so we knew it was time to do some cleansing because it was very significant issues that showed up that, it showed liver issues, it showed skin issues, but I knew that person wasn't healthy enough to go on a fast, a take away the food, take away everything kind of fast. They just couldn't do it. So I started investigating Ayurveda fasts and learned that you could eat food while you were fasting, and using special herbs and using ghee and doing these types of things. So we did that fast, and that a light bulb just went off in my brain, and because it worked, and we felt that, there was a health aspect to it. We saw a real change, and I did it too, and I just loved it. So then I started looking for Ayurveda schools, and your school popped up. And so that was, and you're kind of right down the street, a couple hours away. Wow. And unlike my other classmates that are across the world away, but that's kind of how I got started. So it's been about 2 years of reading and getting to know some of the foods and some of the language, but I felt like such a neophyte when I started.
Great. And so it helped a person in your family. I think a lot of people when they see that it actually had an effect on someone that they know and love, that is very, very compelling. So what was it like being a student in the program? Was it hard, challenging? Was it
Yes, all the above. So,
tell me about that.
Because I actually had done the NTA program, and then I actually went back and got my bachelor's degree about 3 years ago. I was in that study mode, but it was very challenging. It has been very challenging. I do work, like I said, 2 days a week out of the office, but when I'm home, I'm still working with clients. I'm still trying to, run a family and run a farm, and the classes were fabulous for me, though. We did 3 online classes a week at different times, so it accommodated, different students. It was perfect for my schedule. And then I put in about 20 to 25 hours a week in homework, study. I tend to have about 5 books going at all times. They're all over my house. I just leave them wherever, this chapter here and that chapter there. And oh my gosh, I had a thought here, and my family laughs at me, but that's how I study. So it has been challenging. There are some weeks when life just kind of gets away from you, but the instructors have been fabulous. I really would like to talk about that. The instructors have been just great. I feel like I know them. I feel like we've shared our life together. I feel like, you all have brought us into your homes, and we could ask questions. That was really important. On our time together, we got to ask the questions that we needed, and not a question has gone unanswered. So that's pretty amazing.
Wow, great. Well, so you study in programs like I do. Like if the average student is spending 12 hours, I'm spending 24. I mean, it's just academics are really important to me. And it sounds like they are to you too, and that you really dove into it and were passionate about it. And I think that's the right way to go. That is a great way. I know that some of our students don't have time to spend that 25 hours a week, right. And they may be, they may be doing it around 12 hours a week or something like that. Right. But if you have the time, it's always good to slow down with Ayurveda, contemplate it, and really let it run deep in you. And so that you gave it that time is actually, I think, really wonderful and amazing. And I'm glad you like the teachers. We do try to hire teachers that are not just that they're great in Ayurveda, but that they're actually good at teaching, that they're called to be a teacher, that they're good communicators as well. And you said that the teachers were very personal, and that they brought you into their homes too. And that's great feedback for me to hear. I'm glad to hear that. So was the challenge worth it?
Yes, it was.
You're still not sure about
that? I had a lot of self-improvement. I had a lot of doubts whether or not part of the program was writing a therapeutic protocol. I have to admit I've said some really awful words during that process. I've had some very bad thoughts, like, why are we doing this? But it's an interesting process. I had to do that when I was in school years ago, and I wasn't good at it. And I think I have been telling myself for many, many years that I was not good at something. And I actually about 3 weeks ago had a breakthrough, and just let it go. And I wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. And a friend of mine had to give a little testimony of the school had asked us to ask friends or people for testimony of our character. And one of the things she said about me was that I was tenacious. And I don't think of myself as being tenacious, but with this paper and just life in general, I felt like I lived up to that. And that was an amazing thing to come. I didn't expect to come out of school with that quality.
Yeah. Well, every student we talk to says that they're terrified about doing a therapeutic protocol, and some of them are, but then every student says that was the most meaningful part of the program when they graduate. And it's just, there's something about producing creative work that is and pushing yourself to go through the research and expressing it. Yep. Because the entire education process you're receiving, right? But in the therapeutic protocol, you're giving and you're creating, and that brings the knowledge full circle. Because in our minds, we can think we understand it, but then when we actually have to put it down on paper, sometimes it just doesn't look as clean and neat when we actually, look at our own thoughts. And so, you'd think, like, after years, because we've been running this digestion program now for almost 10 years now, and every year the students say, oh, well, you know, I was terrified to the therapeutic protocol. I wasn't going to sign up. And, you know, we could have removed it 10 years ago.
I would have wished you did.
Yeah, exactly. But students, but it's such an important part of the growth part. And so many students have said after they're done that was actually one of the more meaningful parts of the program, that we've just decided to keep it in, you know, and great academics, great educational institutions, you know, we just have to push people through those challenges and hurdles, because that's where greatness is, you know, and we don't want to back down from that. And, you know, even though it's going to be a struggle in that moment, was there, you know, did you feel like the course offered you enough relief? You know, we try to create breaks in the program and times where, you know, where students could have a break. How would you say, you know, were you able to still be a mom and a grandma and a wife in the program, or do you feel like you had to put every one of those things on hold while studying?
No, I really felt I had to make an effort to be balanced. And my husband works at home, so we're both home a lot, and you know, we're used to spending a lot of time talking together. So for him, it was like, why aren't you talking to me? Because you're reading, you know, you're studying, you're not talking to me, you know. But so that, you know, the personal interaction, but we had our grandchildren out here overnight, many nights. You know, I didn't want to give that up, and I didn't. And I would do school while they were napping. And, you know, this has been a very unusual year with the COVID-19 that came, you know, blowing through, and life kind of changed. So I don't think that this is probably even a real year for your students in the past. You know, I had more time, but more stress. So when you're stressed, you don't really want to do school. You know, that was like the last thing I wanted to do when I was feeling under stress.
When coronavirus came, it was like hard to even think about, you know, anything else but, you know, and then there's been political instability, and all those things have really, you know, just, you know, kind of distracting people and distracting me. I'm hoping that, you know, that things will settle down, some light at the end of the tunnel to all this, you know. So yeah, there were some unique challenges this year, and it's great to, you know, to even to talk about that. So in this, you know, there were some changes for your husband and some changes for the other stakeholders in your life. In fact, we always tell students when they're coming into the program to involve everyone in the decision, and to even to discuss the routine with the other stakeholders in their life, so that one, they're not surprised by anything, but also too that they can help you stay balanced, and also articulate what they need. It's like, okay, well, it's fine if you're studying. Can you do that this time of day? Because by 9 p.m. I want, you know, affectionate time together, you know, talking on the couch about how the day went, and, you know, focusing one-on-one focus and things like that. So, you know, how did that, did you have to have some of those conversations with your husband, or, you know, how was there any secret to working that out that you could share with a student that's coming into the program?
Yeah. You know, like I said, we have a good working relationship. We do work together also. But because I was working 2 days out of the house, he already was kind of, he's very helpful. He does everything that I do around the house. So this last couple of weeks when I've been studying and really, you know, preparing for the final, he made dinner for me, or for us. And, you know, he was like, okay, come sit on the front porch. Let's, you know, sit down, have our coffee, well, we don't drink coffee anymore, but have our, you know, tea in the morning, and have a glass of wine in the evening together. And, or we'll go sit out with the sheep, because we're trying to get to know them. So we'll sit there together. And, you know, we've really stolen some wonderful moments together. And like I said, with the grandkids, they're young, they're 4 and almost 2. So they're full of life and full of energy, and I didn't want them not to keep coming. So it was come on in, and we went away for Christmas. We went to my parents for 3 weeks, and we had a break over that time for school, so I felt like I was able to, concentrate and spend time with family there. So yeah, the stress moments have been very hard, but there has been enough grace. And again, another thing about the school, which I've so appreciated, I was late a few times with homework, or knew I was going to be late, and I could have chosen to stay up Sunday night and crammed it in and done it, in my opinion, not correctly. Yeah. And then I would just send a little note and say, hey, I'm going to be late, probably 2 days, and then I get a note back. I hope you're doing okay. I know things are a little tough right now. Thanks for letting us know. Let me know when you turn it in. And that grace that we received was invaluable. I think I would have quit 5 times.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, accomplishing something is always difficult. The bar is always, it's important to have that high bar, but then it's also recognizing that life takes some twists and turns. We've had students in the course who lost a family member, a parent, or even a husband, or just, things happen in life, and most of the people in our courses are adults, and they are juggling other things going on. They may be something going on at their work that they really have to buckle down for. And what our goal is to help everyone get across the finish line. Is that every single person gets to do it, gets that, that they, get what they signed up for, a great education. And, if we have to give an extension, or they have to complete a little work after the course ends, or, that's just what it takes for us to be a team and work together, to provide a great education. And so I'm glad that you experienced that firsthand, some of that flexibility, and we do aim for that. Aim for perfection, and then deal with reality. That's right. I think it's a metaphor to live by, not just for in the course. And absolutely. And people do rise to the occasion. I'm a father of 5. And I'm running Joyful Belly. The organization is difficult. We have a vast amount of content on the website, and our programs. We're trying to support students, improve the program, all those things. And I don't want to miss a single day with any one of my kids. And I say 5 now. Our 5th is going to be born. We're expecting our 5th to be born in the 2nd week of August. But I want to feel the kicks. I want to feel there's his leg, or I can feel a head there, or a bum. You can feel the baby moving all around, and it's getting close now. So it's really fun to get to spend time with the new baby on the way. I can already tell his personality. So we're not giving up we're not giving up that time as teachers with the kids, and the students shouldn't have to either. And we do try to schedule breaks. We do try to provide flexibility. Don't cancel your vacation if you are signing up for the course. You won't have to. You're well accommodated. So just get going with what you want to do, and expect that there's going to be tough days in the program here and there. But life's not going to be terrible in the program. You'll still get to be with the people you love, and you just know that we're not going to back down from providing a great education in that process, just to accommodate, doubling our enrollment or anything like that. No, it's going to be a great program, and you're going to be really proud of yourself when you complete it. So, given all that, I'm afraid to ask the question, but would you recommend this course to other people?
Oh, I already have. Yes. There's a helicopter. Pardon the noise. I apologize. I already have, and yes, I would. like I said, it blended so nicely with what I've been taught in the past. I feel like I need to go further. I hate to say that out loud because my family's going to go, oh my gosh, here she goes again, you know. But this has given me enough information that I can easily use it in my practice. But I feel like I still am just touching the surface. There's just so much more, and it's interesting. The more depth I get, I find that things are more simple. If that makes any sense at all. It doesn't. That's not part of medicine.
Usually it's the other way around. The deeper you get, the more complex it is. But that's not true for Ayurveda. So, you know, the work is all up front. So now you've gone through like your freshman year in college in a way, right? It's like, in a way, that's what it's like. If you take another course, it's not going to be 25 hours a week. I'm telling you, it's going to be at least half of that. You're going to, and you know, it's going to be smoother, and you'll get to that point of fulfillment where it won't feel like, oh my goodness, there's so much more to learn. There is a simplicity to Ayurveda. And once you fully understand it, you kind of like get into it. Of course, there's always more to learn, but you'll find that point of fulfillment. And that's not true for that's not always true for other modalities and other ways of healing. That satisfaction is elusive continually, but for Ayurveda, that you get to that satisfaction point, it does come. And so, you can move forward without everyone groaning and grunting. So
I told them no more school for a year.
No more school for a year. Well, that's good too. Let it sink in. You know, let it sink in.
That's right.
So, you know what? So you said that you would recommend the course. Well, then, to those people you're recommending the course to, what what's the most important thing for them to just make their experience the best? You know, make it to what's something that you wish someone had told you day one?
To be flexible. We did a lot of tasting of herbs and food and documenting how they tasted, which sounds very simplistic, but it was very in-depth, something I had really never paid attention to before. I didn't understand any of that. So for me, that was a kind of an overwhelming, what do you mean we're going to taste herbs and what are we going to do with them? And, you know, just that whole aspect. So be flexible and be open and ask questions and get to know your classmates if you can. I've made a wonderful friend, I believe, in England. And, you know, we have late night chats. I guess she's either getting up or going to bed. I'm not sure which, you know, but we messenger back and forth, and we buddied up in one of the projects we had to do together. And, you know, I think we'll stay buddies for a while. And that's really, again, those relationships are very valuable. So, what else would I like to know? Probably, you know, just the real life that 10 months is 10 months and it's a long time, and I feel like I've just dropped a baby.
Yeah, great. Well, okay, so the food experiments where we're tasting those things, was that valuable? Are you glad you did that? Did you get a lot out of that? Okay.
I did. Okay. The very, very, very good part of the program. It really enhanced it. At one point, I actually got my office involved. I would bring in some of the herbs that I was trying that week, so they all could do it. And last week, we were asked to make a coriander and mint tea for one of the classes that we were doing, so we could drink it while we were having the lecture. And so I brought that in for my office, and they're drinking the teas that I've been making now. That's part of our afternoon. We all have lunch together, and then we make tea, and they're making my teas.
Yeah. I hear some noise in the background. Is that like a phone ringing or something like that?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Well, that's so good. Good. Yeah. That's another area. That's good you brought that up, because it's the therapeutic protocol. And then there's other area, these food experiments where people feel so underconfident in the beginning about their ability to just experience the pharmacological effects of herbs, right? Like we know that thousands of years ago, people were discovering that herbs were useful for this medicinal benefit or that medicinal benefit, but it almost feels like you had to be like an herbal monk to like, figure that out, right? And what we teach people in the course is like, oh no, like everybody could do this. Like it's really not that much of a challenge. But in the beginning, it feels like, oh, everybody else understands how this herb can help me except for me, and it's a big point of insecurity, I think, for our students that are just entering into the program. And every year we try to reassure students like, oh no, you're right on target. You're great. You're doing great. Just keep, you're actually like seeing and realizing more than you even know. You're underconfident about it, but I'm seeing what the student's writing, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're getting it exactly. They're just not even they're not even aware of the power of what they're actually observing, and they don't know how to put it all together yet because you're new, and but then when you learn how to connect the dots from experience to interpretation, then it's like, oh yeah, that underconfidence kind of melts away, and you realize I can do it. And so, so that's such a huge important part of the program, and really testimony to people who think like they're not going to experience anything in an online program, and it's just all going to be abstract. Nothing could be further from the truth. You can actually design, in many ways, a more experiential program online, because you can show videos and things up close instead of students sitting at a desk 30 feet away. There is a lot more experiential potential when you're using multimedia well, and you're having people do experiments and having people share the results of those experiments together as a group. So, well, you've been great. I mean, I think what you have offered in this conversation to students is a realistic view of what the value and the things in the program, but also like, hey, here are some things, here are some struggles, and here are some areas where, I was like even upset, but then I worked through it and things like that. So nothing could be more valuable, I think, to a prospective student than to hearing from you, like, just saying it like it is in the program. And so I really appreciate that. And thank you. And thank you for being a student and joining in our program. And we should connect. As I'd love to hear even a year from now, as you've been integrating this into your nutritional therapy practice, just how that goes, and the further insights and everything you get from that.
I look forward to that.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Tina, very much. Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate it. So yeah, well, we'll keep in touch, okay? And
all right.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye-bye.